All right, hello everybody to a new episode of the Filing Cabinet, and today I have with me Daliya Karnofsky. Dahlia, can you briefly introduce yourself?
Yes, I can. I'm Daliya Karnofsky. I'm a dating coach and marriage and family therapist. I work with couples and individuals looking for relationships and working on their dating prowess. My coaching and my therapy are a little bit different, but have some overlap. And I am right now working as your dating coach.
Yes, and in particular, we're going to chat about my Date Me doc and why people should date me. Although I guess neither of us are totally impartial on this question. Um, before we like dive in totally, I think people are going to hear your name, and they're going to be like, "Is that sounds like someone I know in the effective altruist community?" Uh, so, do you have a relationship
I
to Holden
do.
Karnofsky?
I do. Holden Karnofsky, I'm lucky to report, is my older brother that I love
Okay,
dearly.
all
Yes.
right, cool. Well, with that out of the way, let's get started. So, we are both looking at my Date Me doc, and you, dear listener, there should be a link to this in the description if you want to follow along. It does get updated from time to time, so if you listen to this like very far in the future, it might have changed. But for now, shall we start at the top in the brief introduction?
Let us start at the very beginning. Wait, I have a question
Oh
right
yeah, yeah,
away. Because the
yeah.
thing is, I'm going to be asking you questions, grilling you so we get a more full picture of
Yes.
Daniel. When you say it might change in the future, what do you think would be most likely to change?
What do I think?
Your height?
Uh, Not my height, possibly my weight. The Yeah, I don't know. So things that have caused this to change. Um, so firstly, like my relationship status has caused this to change. So
Hmm.
in particular, it used to say I am currently in a polyamorous relationship, but
Oh,
you know, would like a primary partner, and it no longer says that. Um, those are
because
because I left the yeah the, or yeah that relationship ended.
so now we are single and ready to fully mingle.
Yes, that's exactly how I would put it. Perhaps not exactly. Um, but I could also imagine a larger rewrite at some point in the future.
Okay.
But that sounds like work, and I probably will not get to that. But yeah, no promises about the stability of this document long term.
I'm interested to see how it evolves over time. It might even evolve after today if we poke enough holes in it.
It could.
It could.
So all right. Well, shall we begin the poking?
We shall. Let's
Okay.
poke.
All right. So yeah, it starts off. Hi, I'm Daniel Filan. Here's some basic things about me. Man, 5'8", approximately 150 pounds. Born in March 1994, Berkeley, California. I'm looking for a woman to eventually be in a committed relationship with that ideally leads to having kids. Interested? Email df@danielfilan.com or reach out some other way, e.g., via Twitter. Want to know more? Read on. So that's how it starts.
Okay, great. Question. You have born March 1994, but you don't have, it looks like you were born in Berkeley, but I'm going to say by your accent that you were not.
Oh yeah, yeah. Actually, as I was reading that, that was I realized that that's ambiguous. I was born in Sydney, Australia, but I
Yeah,
live in Berkeley, California.
truth. What if you put that more on top? I think it's interesting.
Okay. I could. Yeah, I think I'm. Okay. Let me find a place other than this doc to
Take
take
notes.
notes.
Yeah.
I think. Um.
I just think it's relevant. I don't know
Yeah.
what it is, but there's something, there's like a different flavor to you. And I think it does come in at the end, spoiler.
Right.
But I do think it's like it kind of changes something a little bit.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess it's one of these things where I'm sort of used to it. Like and therefore maybe I'm not like properly modeling how this is like strange or I actually remember earlier this year I was in New York for this like it was this Latin weekend where like we would go, there would be people, talking in Latin about Latin texts, and we would all chat in Latin with each other. And at the start of one of the sessions, we all like introduced each other. I was like, yeah, uh, in Latin, I said, my name's Daniel, and I actually was born in Australia. And everyone's like, and I'm like, or perhaps not, maybe not that sound, more like, oh, but I don't know. I was like, oh, you know,
I'm, I
I
mean,
find
this
I find it weird that people are born in America, but
right. It's very weird. Why are any of us born in America? But I
yeah,
think, especially right now, there's something appealing about not American. And I will also say, lots of people have a soft spot for an accent, which
yeah,
you do have. So, were I reading this
yeah.
as a woman, I was like, oh, cool. But then if I saw I'm Australian, I'd be like, oh, tell me more.
Okay, okay,
So, just a thought, like you want to lead with what's unique about you, especially when you're kind of handing someone a flat document. You
sure.
want it to kind of pop off the page a little bit. And I think that's like an important sensory part of who you are is your
Yeah.
voice and your accent.
Makes sense. I will say perception of my accent varies a decent amount. Like some people hear it as strongly Australian, some people hear it as strongly American, and like there's a mix between basically because my mother grew up in the US.
Ah, uh-huh.
So it's always been like kind of a mix. And yeah, I don't know. Okay, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I will probably make that change.
Yeah, let's put it up top. I'm looking for a woman to eventually be in a committed relationship with that ideally leads 7 kids. Okay, I like all of that. I feel like if someone had clarifying questions about it, they could ask, but it contains enough like patience and flexibility within it that I don't think it would turn anyone off. So I think that's a
Interesting.
good thing.
Well, like the modifier is like eventually and ideally. That's what you're
Yes.
thinking. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Like you're not saying I absolutely must have kids. So I would clarify that if you do feel
Yeah.
that way. And then eventually committed. I'm a little curious about that. We can talk more about that later, but I'm assuming you just mean I don't need to jump in and be committed right away. I'm also curious kind of what committed means to you, as I know that
Right.
you're open to a polyamorous relationship. There's
Yeah.
all
Yeah. Yeah.
different kinds of commitment, so you might want to clarify that a little bit as well. But I kind of
Okay.
think you do later, so we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think also like part of my philosophy is look, just like have a really short thing at the start. That's like,
Hmm.
if
Just
like if
like bullet points.
yeah, not too many caveats.
Got it.
But the key pieces. All right. Yeah. So shall we say a bit about what I'm like,
What
which
you're
is
like is
the
the next heading.
yep.
I like that. And go ahead.
Yeah. So, firstly, I guess it talks about what I do. So, I work in like sort of the make AI not kill everyone sector, basically, or make AI not take over the world. Is I think a bit more precisely what I think about. Um, and also my podcasting penchant, which listeners to this podcast will be very well aware of.
Yes. I actually wasn't that aware, even though I've read this before. I kind of needed a reminder of that because I don't think of you as like so extroverted. And I
Hmm.
think of podcasting as more of an extroverted sport, but I suppose it's not because you could be alone with your microphone.
Yeah. I mean, I would say that the one where I talk to people about their like that is like an interview based format. I would say, yeah, I think I'm not like I think I don't have an extroverted demeanor. I do feel sad when I don't talk to, or I don't know. I think I enjoy being in people's company. Um I would say maybe one way to make this make some amount of sense is that in a podcast where I'm the host, it's like a social interaction, but like I'm in charge, And in
Yes.
particular, I get to, it's like I've read a paper that I think is interesting, and I just get to I get to be, hey, can I just ask you questions for a few hours that I'm interested in about your work? Um, and people will say yes because it's a podcast and they feel like it's, but like it's nice that it's a podcast, but it's also just like I'm curious about a thing and I get to satisfy my curiosity. Maybe that makes it like,
Yes.
yeah,
But I like the idea that you're in control. And this is actually useful because we've been talking a lot about how you can meet people in real life and how you
Yep.
can be comfortable having those kind of jumping off conversations.
Yep.
And I wonder if there would be something helpful in you thinking of those conversations more of like, I'm going to host a podcast episode with this person as my guest and just go
Mm,
up and talk to them as if you're very fascinated in them as a person. They may not have written
mm,
a paper that you've read yet, but if you can think of it as like, I do have control over the social interaction, I do know how to do this. I'm going to go kind of ask the questions I would ask if a random stranger came on my podcast
yep.
rather than like, I'm trying to get to some other goal, but just like going in with that same amount of interest and sense of control that you have when you're hosting a podcast
Right.
episode.
I think I my sense is that this is actually not so far from how I socialize.
Hmm.
Um, I think, or yeah, I guess. Okay. How do I socialize? It's probably a mix of me asking questions that I'm interested in and me rambling on topics that I'm interested in. Um, yeah, I think I think the yeah, like asking people questions about stuff that I'm interested in. I think this is, I think I have deficits, but I think this is not like one of them. Is my guess.
Yeah, but my thought is when you don't have a specific topic or you're trying to approach someone, like the sense I've gotten from our work together thus
Yep.
far is a little bit of it makes you a little more hesitant to think, oh, there's another goal here. Like I'm trying to get to ask this person out or get to
Yep.
more of like a could there be a dating relationship here? And so I'm trying to think, is there a way to make you more comfortable with that, more relaxed in the way that say you are right now when
Mm.
you're talking to someone you just met, um, where it's as if you're trying to just find out something interesting about them and not that like you're on display in any way.
Oh, so the thought is the way I should think about asking people out is like, you know, questions I might ask people include uh what do you work on? Why, what's X fact about you?
Mhm.
What's Y fact about you?
Mhm.
Uh would you be interested in dating? That's an interesting thing about you. Like that kind of thing?
Kind of. I mean, again, I don't think you need to jump to that. Like, I think for you, our first goal is like,
Yeah.
let's make some connections out in the real world because you have activities that you go to regularly, like book
Yes.
readings or contra dancing, where you're going to see the same people, but we have to start to build kind of a different um, route to a relationship. So
Mm,
just getting interested in them. What brought you to contra dancing? Like, let's say you see someone at contra dancing that, okay, maybe they could be interesting.
yeah.
I'm going to host a podcast episode right here, right now about contra dancing, and they are my guest. And I'm going to go
Yeah.
ask them, what brought you here? How long have you been doing it? But trying to think of more qualitative questions. What do you like about it? What other kind of dance have you done before? Oh, what are some of your other hobbies? Like,
Mm,
less, how long have you been coming here? Do you come here every week? Like, yes, no,
yeah, yeah,
quantity
yeah.
questions versus if I'm hosting them and I relax into myself. Like I'm not trying to get anything out of this except be really curious and interested about them. And I think to your point, you do that because I think you genuinely are curious about people and like learning about all different kinds of people. But I'm trying to get you in a slightly different headspace so there's less pressure on the like, oh, I think I'm trying to ask someone out, and more,
Mm.
I'm trying to learn about someone, and that can build a relationship where eventually I'm like, would you like to grab coffee sometime? I'm really been enjoying getting to know you and the way your mind works.
Yeah, I think for me the difficulty is the second, the what to me feels like a transition from like
Yes.
normal talking to like, do you want to get coffee some, like to me that's like, that's a jump. I don't know, like how do I take that jump? Well, like I think that's where the sticking point is.
Yeah, I think there's two options.
Hmm.
One is don't make it smooth. Don't worry
Okay.
about making it smooth.
Okay.
Don't worry about a clean transition. You're talking, you're interested. Wow, this has been really interesting. Would you like to get coffee sometime?
Yeah.
Like straight up, no BS, just jump in to the thing that you're trying to get. And I
Mm.
think people appreciate that. And I think there's no need to be like, oh, you mentioned coffee. Do you ever drink coffee? Well, I drink
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
coffee as well. Like you can just be like, this has been really fun. Should we go out sometime? Should we hang out more? I'd love to hang out more with you. Just kind
Mm.
of saying what it is, exactly what you're thinking. The
Yep.
other option is don't do it at all. Have the whole conversation. Nice meeting you. Then, and I would not say this is the coward's way, but I would say it's a little more like safe. But
Okay.
then find them, which is relatively easy to do in this day and age. I mean, you could ask them for some sort of email, phone number,
Yeah, yeah.
social, whatever, or you can find them
Yep.
afterwards and send them a message, which I think we've done once or twice, where you're like, it was so nice meeting you at that thing. Would you like to grab coffee sometime? Like, there's no real smooth, organic way to do it. So you just kind of got to jump in and you can either do
Yeah.
it face to face or after the fact.
All right. Well, we could talk a lot about strategy for asking people out, but perhaps we should pivot to how great I am as laid out in this doc.
We absolutely should pivot to that.
All right.
That's the most important.
So, so okay. After podcasting, next part is at the moment my main hobby is learning Latin, which this is slightly out of date because I've started learning a bit of ancient Greek,
Ah,
um, which is I don't know if people know this, but it is harder and yeah, it's just harder and more annoying than Latin, but also like I feel like all the stuff you are likely to have heard of is written in ancient Greek rather than Latin. So that's the
oh,
cost you've got to pay, you know.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Like you know how you've heard of the Greek philosophers but not the Roman philosophers?
Yes.
Yeah. Um or, New Testament written in Greek.
Ah,
Some
so
people
you
don't know.
mean like worthwhile literature is written in Greek, but still
Yeah.
most words derive from Latin, though.
Most yeah, Latin has a much bigger influence on the English language,
Hmm.
but like yeah, in terms of like works that you've heard of, like or like or at least works that I had heard of before I started studying Latin, like they were mostly Greek.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, or like you know how this year Christopher Nolan he's making a movie about like the Odyssey, and
Yes.
he's not making a movie about the Aeneid because like the Aeneid is some Latin poem that like nobody's heard of. Yeah. Anyway, main hobby learning Latin and ancient Greek. Um, oh, you have a
Well, my thought about that would just be if we pivot to dating apps at some point, I think that's a
hmm,
great little nugget of like the Latin versus Greek. Like that's exactly the kind of thing you want to be where it made me go, "Oh, I didn't know that. Tell me more." But isn't
hmm,
Latin blah 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 about words, etc. You
yeah,
want little hooks like that. So those little factoids that you know are actually quite useful if you're doing something like writing your profile. Here you might want to
nice.
update it, but I feel like this is not as interactive a doc, so it's
Yeah,
probably fine and then you can talk about it later.
actually, too. Yeah, actually, I should explain the word thing. So partly it's because like uh yeah, part of what's going on is that like Latin turns into French and like English borrows a lot of French words, and then partly because like if you think about Italy and Greece, Italy is like to the west of Greece, right?
Hmm.
And like you have this like in around the year 1000, Christianity sort of splits between like the Roman Catholics and the Greek Orthodox roughly, and like Western Europe is sort of is part of the Roman Catholics, and so like uh actually it's not even because of that. Like just because like um in Western Europe you have a bunch of languages which yeah derive from Latin, and everyone's sort of like reading a bunch of stuff which was written in Latin. Latin becomes like the language of like, you know, intellectuals and stuff writing, and like I think that also is a reason why words get borrowed into it. So words get borrowed into other languages. So yeah, ultimately I guess it's because like Italy is physically closer to Western Europe than Greece is, and
Oh,
so Western European languages just get more Latin stuff. Yeah, yeah. So just going on your like why are more words
yes.
sort of closer to
Yes,
Latin.
yes.
Yep.
See how great a date conversation you could have just on this one topic.
Well, it's fun for me. I don't.
I mean, I
I'm
think
glad
it's
that.
fun as long as you let
Okay.
the other person in to it
All
a
right.
bit and let
Okay.
them ask questions, etc.
All right. Cool.
Cool.
Shall we continue or?
Yes, please.
All right. Other present and past hobbies include contra dancing, learning about the history of Christianity, and watching anime.
Mm.
I also try to do cardio exercise at least 4 times a week, and enjoy taking long walks, I recently attempted to walk the perimeter of San Francisco.
I love
Speaking of
those.
things that have to change at some cadence, at some point this will no longer be so recent that I can, with a straight face, say recently.
When was it?
This was in December. This was like mid December last year,
Okay.
which is a bad time to. So basically, it's like a 16-hour walk, which you want to do in summer because there's light. Um, you seem your eyes are doing something.
That is so long. I didn't realize San Francisco's that big, I guess.
I think it's small for a city, but like the perimeter, you gotta go all the way around.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. Okay, so you did that all in one day, or you attempted? What's the
Well, I attempted
attempted
to.
to?
Yeah, the sun got to me. It was actually it's kind of a funny story. The so I got around like 3/4 of the way when the sun set, and then I don't know the sun set, and I was like, okay, it is like actually quite dark. I should probably get home. So I try to open Uber, and it's not working. And then I look around, and basically like there's just this like big blackout, and like I can't connect to Wi-Fi. So I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, how like I'm not near a train. How do I like get home? Now, luckily, I'm in a car park with some car. Like it's like I'm it's a car park to like some like I don't know park or like national or state park or something that I'm in. And basically I'm like, oh, I have to try to persuade. Well, like it's getting dark. People are going home, and I'm like, oh, the thing I have to do is try and persuade someone to like let me in their car and drive me to a train station. Um, because like I'm far enough from anything that like walking is going to be a real pain. Uh, and the third time I tried, I succeeded. So
What
it
happened
was
on the first
exciting.
two? They said no thanks.
Roughly, yeah, roughly the first time I knock on a car's window and it's like they're just like I don't know. I think there's like two women in there, and they're like, yeah, I don't feel comfortable letting a random guy into my car, and I'm like, okay, makes sense. Um, and then the second time, I yeah, I go to someone, I'm like, hey, I will pay you $50 if you drive me to a train station or something, and they're like, oh, I will walk to my car and talk to my girlfriend or whatever, and we will think about it. And then they walk away, and I'm like, I don't know how. I think I'll try another attempt. And then the third time, I there are these um, guys. It seemed like they had like somewhat recently immigrated to the U.S. from India, and they happened to live in Oakland anyway. So, and I don't know. I guess they felt comfortable letting some guy they didn't know in their car. So worked out. Yeah,
Wow. Question, because if the sun is a factor, did you try it again or would you try it again in the summer when the sun doesn't
I
set
am
so
planning to
early?
try it again
Okay.
in the summer. Yeah.
Nice. Nice.
Yep.
I mean, what you could do is schedule a bunch of first dates for each leg. Someone meets you for 2 hours or an hour.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Walking dates are great. And there
I
you go. You
do
fill up your
fear.
time.
Yeah, there's something cool about that. I have some fear that like I got to make the distance while there's sunlight, right? I can't be held back by these dates.
You got to be
But
hoofing it. You got to be going
yeah,
fast,
yeah,
is what
yeah,
you're saying.
yeah.
Interesting. I mean,
I did. I
yes.
I will say that the time I did it in December, there was a leg that I did with my then partner, which was very nice.
Ah, see?
Uh, no doubt the reason I didn't complete it all. No, I'm joking. I'm
Yes.
joking, of course.
Blame your partner
Um,
always. Number one tip in dating.
all right.
Wait, question though. What is important to you about this? Doing this?
Um, I would say I think so. Partly it's a riff of like, oh, I like taking long walks on the beach. I'm like, oh, I actually do like taking very very long walks. So I don't know. Partly it's a riff off a cliche. I think like there's some desire to be like showing a few different sides of me. So yeah, there's like learning Latin, learning about the history of Christianity, watching anime are sort of cerebral or like I wouldn't say anime is that cerebral, but like nerdy type things. Contra dancing, and like doing exercise stuff is a bit like it's
Yeah.
like more physical. It's like I think people care about fitness or people care about their partners caring about fitness as I think they should. And then I guess like going along, it's some combination of like fitness and like just getting some time to yourself and I don't know. I feel like it's not a thing I do that frequently, but I also think that knowing that sometimes I'll just spend the whole day walking the perimeter of San Francisco is like I think that tells you something about me. I don't know.
It does. It definitely does. My question was more because I think it's very relevant and good to have here because like I said, I love those little details that really
Hmm.
flesh someone out. I guess I'm just like if I was on a date with you, I'd be like, "But why do you want to walk the perimeter of Like what about that is
Oh.
important?" You know what I mean?
Oh, I see what you mean. Well, it's like yeah, what about that is important? So firstly, it's a nice walk.
Is it?
Like you get to see a lot of stuff. So San Francisco, it's like roughly a square.
Mm,
Um, and especially the north and the west sides, right? On the west side up, right? You've got like sand dunes and beaches and like the ocean. It's very nice. On the north side, there's like well, I didn't actually. That's the side that I didn't make it to. But there's like views of the bay and like the also the east side, right? Lovely views of the bay. Um, so I okay. Partly it like uh, okay. Why was it important to me to walk the perimeter of San Francisco? Firstly, it's like an achievement, right? In the way that like it's yeah, it's the perimeter of San Francisco, you know. Partly it's like a big cross section of like you get to see a lot of San Francisco that way. There's like different types of views in different types of places. Partly I just like walking and not having to think about anything other than walking. Um, yeah,
hmm. I like it. Do you listen to anything? Are you listening to music or podcasts or you just walk and think?
good question. I think when I've done things like this, sometimes I have listened to podcasts. To bring it back a bit, Latin podcasts.
Hmm,
To gotta get in the drills. Um, yeah, sometimes listening to stuff, sometimes not. Um, one thing I've done is one fun version of this is you like have a rule that you're not allowed to use your phone during it. Yeah, if you want it to be like a defined walk, then it's a bit hard because you want to know the trail, right? Um, so yeah, it varies. I would say.
I like it. I'm excited for your next attempt. Once you become a professional at it, then you can consider adding dates along the way.
Mm,
You could be like a world record dater walker.
mm.
Just to give you some goals for the future since you like to achieve things.
All right, I'll
I would
note that
say get
down.
it done for yourself first and then see what other fun things we can throw into it. I do think it's a fun idea. And I like to your point knowing more of the physical side of you as well and that you
Hmm.
can be kind of creative in this way. Like this is quite a creative thing to do, like
Yeah, yeah,
not
yeah.
something that everyone would think of doing. It's also kind of an extreme thing to do, which is nice to hear from you because you seem very measured and practical. That is kind of like a very silly extreme that I'm
Interesting.
into.
It feels yeah. It doesn't feel that extreme. Like you're just walking.
Well, it's a
You're just walking
16
more than
hour
people
walk.
normally do.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
It's taking the
All
long
right.
walks to the next level. It's
Okay.
maxing for the
Yeah.
for the young people out there.
It is maxing in some ways.
Yes.
All right. Shall we?
We
Perhaps
shall.
we should
Yes,
continue.
please.
All right.
Yes.
And then okay. I think I like this paragraph. So it goes.
Yes.
If I had to describe my general vibe, I would say that I'm academic shaped. The thing I'm best at is studying, and if I may flatter myself, I think I would make a good 60-year-old whose job was to be generally erudite and warm.
I love that paragraph, and I think it is correct. when I hear academic shaped, I'm like, what shape is that? Is it like a pear? Is it?
It's a figurative shape.
Yes, I know. But I'm
Yes, yes,
thinking of
yes.
if I
I
was to
think
be literal about it.
yes. To be very literal, okay, to be very literal about it, it's the shape of a human. To be halfway literal about it, I think it probably be would be to wear glasses, which I don't, and like have some sort of tweed jacket type
Academic
thing, which I
shaped.
don't.
Yes.
Um, it would probably, it really actually I think it depends a lot on the discipline. Like, you have these like these computer scientists, they'll do like rock climbing, whereas the classicists, I'm sure, are more like traditional academic vibes.
Mm. Hmm.
I guess, yeah, I don't know.
Hmm. I just keep picturing you inside of
Hmm.
a book shape.
I can,
Yes. Yes.
for the
Yes.
listeners, I'm squishing
Two books.
two ancient Greek texts, or one ancient
Yes.
Greek textbook and one Latin book, uh, and I'm squishing my cheeks with them.
I like it. What I like
Um,
too is kind of similar to the perimeter walk. It's like you took an idea and made it a little silly. Like, I'm academic, but I'm academic shaped. Just a little sillier to me. I like it.
right. I think. Yeah. Definitely. That was just that was not a conscious choice to be funny. That's just the way it naturally occurred to me
Yeah.
to express that
It's
idea.
a
But
little quirky.
I'm glad I'm glad it's pleasing in some ways.
I like it
Um,
because something kept you from just saying, I'm an academic.
well, I'm literally not, or like I don't work at a university, right? So I would feel bad about saying I'm an academic.
Mm, fair, fair. But you're academic shaped. I like it. I'm just
Okay.
into it. Okay. So, and a 60-year-old whose job is to be generally erudite and warm. I do like that. You're a little quicker than how I think of a 60-year-old, but otherwise I'm into it.
Okay. All right.
And maybe I'm
Fair enough.
being ageist. But you talk
Perhaps.
really fast. I don't know. It makes me think like you're a little less like when you're 60, the
Hmm.
version of you will probably be a little more mellow.
That seems right. I think I've gotten mellower in the past 10 years or so. So it seems like a good guess that I
Yeah,
will over the next couple
you'll
decades.
mellow. You'll mellow more. But you're pretty
Um,
mellow.
oh,
Shaped. Mellow shaped.
thank you.
Yes. Go
Um,
on. I like this part.
oh, this is the so I guess this is the testimonials.
Can I read
Uh,
them?
yeah, I feel yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Cool. Well, you read that. You read the heading.
Testimonials. I'm bad at describing myself. So here are some friends' descriptions of me.
Okay, first one. Can you pronounce this name for me?
Asya Bergal, who is a
Bergal.
she, by the way.
Okay. Um, so they have a full testimonial that you have linked, but here's the summary with some bolding for the original text. Daniel is,
The whole
yes,
thing is original. The whole thing is a quote, and I've just bolded parts that I think
that you
sound
like.
good. Yeah, I like the whole thing, but
Well, but it says bolding original, which makes it
or
seem,
oh no, sorry. What I maybe that's the thing to clarify.
yes.
No, what bolding original means is that I think in her full testimonial she had that text bolded. Yep,
Oh,
that's
got
what's
it.
happening.
I understand. Okay, that was a little confusing for me. I thought the rest
Okay,
was like paraphrase. Okay. Anyways,
yep,
I'll be her. Daniel is very intentionally funny, at least to me, and a lot of people whose sense of humor isn't too far from mine. In my opinion, the best thing about Daniel is a mixture of being generative, funny, and low ego that reliably makes me joyful. Parentheses, often laughing and at ease when I'm around him. Now in bold. I think he fosters this feeling to a really unusual extent among people I know, and I suspect the optimal long term partner for Daniel will be someone who really likes that feeling and wants to live in it forever. That's beautiful. I just love that.
yeah.
And then, is this next part more that she said?
Yeah, this is this is I think there's some dot point and then I got rid of the first part of the dot point.
Okay. Several individuals from different parts of my social network have unpromptedly expressed to me that they find Daniel very good to be around, including one who I think of as extremely judgmental and perceptive.
Yeah. So I should say the full test this is like one of the points in the full testimonial Other points are that I seem pretty smart,
Hmm.
that I seem low ego, kind, and self aware, that I might be pretty conscientious, and that from the outside, I strike Asya as fairly emotionally stable.
Who is this person in your life?
This is a housemate of mine, housemate
And
and friend.
why are you not dating her?
Uh, some combination of she said no and she is dating someone else.
Those are good reasons, but obviously she thinks very highly of you.
Yeah, I'm quite honored.
What made you ask her for the testimonial for this doc?
That is a great question. So to tell you the truth, it's been like a year since I wrote this. My guess is what happened is that I I had some like time pressure thing to make this doc where
Right.
I told someone that I would pay them like $200 if I did not put out a date me doc by a certain date. And I think maybe she was just like around in the room and was like, you know what, I can give you a testimonial. Um, but I don't remember.
I like it. I'm into it. The part I gotta say that struck me when I was rereading this
Hmm.
is the funny part, the intentionally funny part.
Yeah.
Because, well, I think we work together and we're like pretty business is business. So we're doing
Yep.
business. So maybe that's why. But like,
Hmm.
I think of you as kind of like a more serious guy, at least in our work together. But that's probably because I'm not just hanging out with you.
Yeah. I think it's some. So okay. Firstly, like, um, I guess some of it is like who you're comparing against. It's possible I have the gift of being surrounded by an unfunny crowd, but I don't think that's true actually. I
That was
think.
funny.
Thank you. I think that. Yeah, I think that. Uh, when we have sessions, they're like 30 minutes, and I'm like, man, I gotta really like, I gotta get all the way to cover all the bases. Whereas I think, for instance, at like house dinners or something, I live in a group house, you know, so we all eat dinner together, or like other social interactions, or I guess there's also a thing where I just know her better than I know you,
Fair.
although. Although you're a fairly chill person, who is not averse to cracking a joke yourself,
It's true.
yeah,
Um, but I think that's kind of illuminating because I imagine when we get to the you going on dates part,
yep,
it is going to be in the beginning a bit more like our sessions, not in covering all the bases, but in not knowing the person as well yet.
mm,
And I think you're a very good listener, which I don't know
mm.
if that's on here. Maybe I should write you a testimonial. um,
I think at some point the there's too much of a conflict of interest or something. I don't know,
is
but
there? I'm
well,
honest. I'm straightforward.
okay,
Um, but this is what I'm saying is like I experience you as a good listener. There's
mm.
definitely like a twinkle in your eye and like an upturn of the mouth that tells me like you have a positive outlook and like there is funny in there. But sometimes I'm like, um, can I be funny with this person?
Oh really?
And sometimes I'm like, what does he find funny? And I'm not sure which way things are going to go sometimes.
Fair enough. Fair
Again,
enough.
we don't know each other as well yet,
Yeah.
but I think I experience you, and maybe this is also you more in the land of like studying and getting information and like working on things. And so there's less of like, I'm going to take time to crack jokes. I think you definitely have a sense of humor about yourself from what I've
Yep.
experienced. But I was, yeah, I was struck by because she's not the only one. We'll read the other ones too that talk about you being funny.
Mm.
So I'm just having an eye on it for when you start dating of like, how do we bring that out of you a bit since that seems to be something people really like about you.
Interesting. Uh, all right. Shall we move on to the
Yes.
next
Yes,
ones?
yes. Okay.
Okay. So these next two I should perhaps for context. I used to have so okay back in the old days there was this dating website called OkCupid, which was great, and in the somewhat more recent days, there was this website called Manifold that was like a play money prediction market thing. And they decided to branch out into also being a dating site where I think their thought was you could bet on whether people would end up dating each other or whatever.
Hmm.
But in particular, it was sort of like they sort of pivoted to let's just recreate OkCupid, but they recreated OkCupid with a comment section, and I just took some of the comments from that and
Oh,
put them in here.
fun. So do you know these people?
I do know these people.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how do you pronounce this first person?
Eli Tyre.
Eli Tyre. Okay. Daniel Phelan is among the top 10 highest integrity people that I know. That's big.
Yeah. I feel it feels hard for me. Like, okay, a difficult thing about talking about myself is I just feel sort of normal, you know. Um, but Eli at least thinks that I am among the highest top 10 highest integrity people that he knows.
I mean, that's pretty high praise. But I mean, from the short time I've known you, I would say you seem to have pretty good integrity to me as well.
Thank you.
Very straightforward, very straight shooter, never questioning your intentions. I don't think that will be an issue for you.
Okay.
Next is Q.
Yep.
Daniel is interesting to talk to. He knows many things. True. I usually get a bit anxious around new people, but did not feel that way when talking to Daniel. He seems non judgmental and is also occasionally funny.
Colon P.
Colon P.
Yes.
Again, the funny,
Yeah. Yeah.
and the
Occasionally,
non judgmental.
not too often.
I like it. I like it. I think sometimes, as far as the non judgmental goes, that's a really good quality that you want to also bring out on those dates. I think
Hmm.
hopefully you'll be on dates with the right people that won't feel this way, but because you are, high in integrity and very intelligent and interested in kind of like academic shaped things, um it could be intimidating to some people. They might feel I'm going to get judged, not even based off of you,
Hmm.
but of what you're interested in, the world that you're in. So
Hmm.
I think it's good that you have the effect of I am not judging you, and the more you can listen and take an interest and respond to, you know things that are don't come as naturally to you, will be helpful to prove that you are not, some person in this
Yeah.
academic
Yeah.
land.
Actually, maybe this is a point where I want to. Okay, I get why Q said that I seem non-judgmental,
Hmm.
and I think there's a relevant sense in which I am not. That said, my internal experience is of being like reasonably judgmental. But here's what I think my policy is. I claim that I try to not make my judgments of people their problem. You know what I mean?
I like that. Explain a little bit more.
Like, okay, I think that I don't know. I just think I do form opinions about people. Like sometimes I think people are making mistakes, or I think people have various strengths and weaknesses, or whatever. But like, I think that I don't. I think the thing that I try to do is not like if somebody comes up to me and is like, "Hey, Daniel, according to you, like, how could I be a like better person?" Then maybe I'll like have some advice or something. But I think I'm not going to be like, by the way, uh, you think X, which I think is dumb, unless it's like, unless it like comes up, you know?
Unless they ask you, is this dumb?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like if we're having a discussion about X, like if like if we're talking like, what do you think about X? Oh, I think this, and I'm like, oh, I actually disagree for this reason or whatever.
Hmm.
But like, I think the thing I would prefer to say that I am judgmental, but laissez faire
Yeah.
to some degree.
You're privately judgmental.
Yes,
I think most
whichever one,
people
great
are.
quality.
Yeah, great. Let's replace that. He's privately judgmental. I think most, like, we're human beings. The way that
Sure, sure.
we relate to the world is by going, what do I do that's different or the
Yep,
same as that person? What do I think about what they do or don't do and what they just said? Like, that's how we make sense of it. I would
yep.
say when it comes to dating, this is where it's actually important to stay open. Like you'll have the knee jerk judgment, and then you
Yeah,
want
yeah,
to stay open and ask more questions if there's something you're feeling judgmental about. Because in my experience, people will go on a first date, hear something someone says, I don't think this would be you, but could be of like kind of shutting down around that thing of like, well, they said that. I don't really like that, or I don't agree
yep,
with that, and leave it at that. Whereas if we ask more questions, get more curious, and really try to put ourselves in that person's thought process,
yep,
we can learn something really interesting. We still might not agree about the content itself, but we can
yep,
get much more engaged in the way that they think, in the way that we think, in the way that we have those conversations. Because obviously, in any
yeah,
couple, there's going to be plenty of differences of opinion. But what's more important than having the same opinion is the way that you respect and communicate about each other's opinions.
okay. Um, I think actually this is uh speaking of dating apps, this I think this is part of what I dislike about dating apps, which is that like sometimes there will be a thing and I'm like, ugh, but I don't like there's not an opportunity for me to ask a follow-up question, right?
Right.
Um
Well, what about messaging about that thing? Like, what if that's your opener? Is that wrong?
um I would have to think about a way to make that an opener that didn't seem and yeah, I don't
I
know.
mean, I'd say the phrase "tell me more about X" is a safe one. Of
Okay.
like, oh, I'm curious about what you said about X, tell me
Yeah.
more, is a non judgmental way of like seeing if there's more to this. Obviously, if it's something that's like a core belief that you really are turned off by, we're not going to push past the initial
Yeah, yeah.
reaction on the dating app. But if you're already talking to someone, or if other things look like they line up and you're like, ooh, that thing. I mean, my general feeling is don't make any judgments until you meet in person, unless they say
Hmm.
something like horribly, horribly, off from what you believe in. But wait until you can experience the person in real life and have these conversations of more curiosity, more questions, tell me
Hmm.
more, that sort of thing. Because, yeah, dating apps, a lot of people just put something and there's more
Yeah,
to
yeah.
it than that. They're very two dimensional.
Okay. There are so we have not that much more time,
Correct.
I believe.
Yes,
So perhaps so there's one more testimonial. There's what I'm looking for. There's compatibility. There's more photos of me, which podcast is probably not the best medium for that. There's fun facts about me.
I like the fun facts. Wait,
Okay.
let's look at this last testimonial.
All right.
Daniel is a fantastic. This is from John. How do you pronounce the last name?
John Steadley,
Steadley.
who is a housemate of mine.
Okay, Daniel is a fantastically passionate guy. He's always interested in some new topic and learning everything about it. He's funny, he's cheerful, he's a delight. It's extremely rare to find him in a bad mood. Love that. Daniel stands up for what he believes in, but also admits his mistakes quickly and completely. He's terrifically smart. Terrifically. I like that.
Nice.
Do you agree that you're never in a bad mood or not
Uh,
often?
that's not what he said.
Okay.
Extremely rare to find him in a bad mood. I think I no. I think that I'm like some fraction of the time in a bad mood. Uh, I yeah. Why did I put this in there then? Maybe I've gotten in a worse mood over the last
Oh,
year. I think I'm sometimes in a bad mood. I think I try. I think I try to put a. I try to be aware of that.
yeah.
But
I mean,
yeah,
there's nothing wrong with being in a bad mood. We're all human. We all go
yeah,
there. It's a question of, do you take it out on other people? And it seems like from his experience, who's a housemate, so relevant. No, you do not, because he thinks you're never in a bad mood. Not never. He said
yeah,
rarely.
yeah.
So, you know, again, you're allowed to have bad moods. You just don't want to pollute the whole planet with them.
All right.
What I'm looking for,
Yeah,
yeah,
is what I'm looking for. Compatibility and fun fact. Yeah, which I think we won't have time to cover all of this. So,
we
which
won't.
do you think is
I
most?
think fun facts should be a teaser and people should come look at
All
them
right.
because they're
Okay.
at the end and they are fun. Um, I'm interested in what I'm looking for. Compatibility is a little more fact driven, so we can get there, but I do want to talk about what I'm looking for. So, can you read
Yep.
that? Yeah.
Okay. At a high level, intimate, reliable, and comfortable companionship that helps me grow in unexpected ways and can serve as a foundation for the rest of my life. but I think that's pretty generic. So, here are traits someone could have that I think predict I would get on well with them: being analytical, being ambitious, but also, at least somewhat, pro social, being curious and open minded, and favoring bluntness and honesty while trying to maintain tact.
Okay. Where do these traits come from? What made you come up with them?
Um, I think that, yeah, the historical question of what made me come up with them, unfortunately, this was a while ago. My, so, okay, I think, here's a fact about me. I think I'm bad at articulating why I like things and like what you know, what I'm looking for out of various domains in relatively explicit, legible ways. I think that probably what probably what these traits describe is just like people I get along well with.
Yes.
Um, like I think if I were, I think if I were trying to come up with a list of like what would I want in like a good friend,
Hmm.
it would probably be this list. I would guess.
Yes. Have you, when you've dated,
Yeah,
have these traits been present in those partners?
yeah,
Because I'm curious, they do seem like traits of yours as well.
yeah,
So, there is something to be said for dating someone like you. There's also
mm,
something to be said for dating someone not like you.
yeah.
So, is that something you're open to? If someone is not analytical, is there a way in which that could balance you? Or is that a
Um,
deal breaker? They must think that way.
I don't think it's a deal breaker. Um, I think like I yeah, I don't think it's a deal breaker. Um, I think that so yeah, I think maybe like the thing that's going on with this list is I'm like trying to think about like, well, who do I tend to get on with, and like what's like if I just had to know some people, or sorry, if I had to know some facts about someone, and if I had to like guess, will I get along with them? Like if you're a yes on all of these things, I think that's like a pretty good chance.
Hmm.
But that's not like the same thing as like these are my requirements, you
Yeah.
know? They're sort of like backed out. Um yeah, I think like maybe getting to like these are things that sort of describe me. I think that yeah, I guess partly what's going on is like I just travel in circles of people who are relatively similar.
Hmm.
Um yeah, I think that's not a as clear an answer as one might hope for, but I think that's what I've got.
Yeah, I'm mixed on it. I'm fine with it here because date me docs are whatever you want them to be. My
Mm,
general feeling with dating apps and profiles there is like it's kind of a waste of space to talk about what you're looking for because you won't really know until you find it outside of those actually in the compatibility section, things like, you know, I'm looking for kids or I want
yeah,
to get married or I'm poly or whatever it is.
yeah, yeah,
Um, Outside of kind of those qualifiers, I'm always hesitant on the like, this is who I've dated in the past, or this is who I tend to be friends with. And with you, it may work that way, but I just
yeah,
don't want to close us off to anyone because I'm always like, there's a chance that you actually need something completely different from that for your partner, which is different than a friend and
yeah, yeah,
different
yeah.
than you.
Yep,
And my experience is it works quite well when couples balance each other. So they have some overlap and some different traits.
yeah,
Um, so I'm just curious about this section. It's actually not something we've talked as much about. Our main focus so far has been like how to have you meet more people, how to get
yeah,
more comfortable asking people out. But I'm also curious on what draws you to people, what you're attracted to. Um, Yeah, and that also could just remain to be seen, but I want you to stay open too to like it doesn't have to be someone that thinks like you or thinks like people you know. But
yeah. I think that that's. I think that like yeah, I basically agree with this. I think that when I am, yeah, definitely like my when I'm like meeting people or going on dating apps, I'm not like going down this list and being like, do they check these boxes? I'm being like, okay, what do I like this person?
Hmm.
You know,
Hmm.
yeah, I think yeah, if I had to guess like why I put this section in there, I think like I do think there's some virtue in like just clarifying like you know what you know helping someone get a sense of like what the chances that like it will work out or something. But I agree that it's like maybe misleadingly well, like maybe it's wrong to be like, no, this is to give a sense of like this is what's required or something.
Right, right. Like, I just wouldn't want someone to be reading this and be like, well, I'm not very analytical. Or, and you do say, here are traits someone could have that I think predict what I would get on, that I would get on well with them.
Yeah,
Um, but I just want to stay a little more open minded. Like, I like the being curious and open minded because I
yeah,
think that's always a good trait. Favoring bluntness and honesty while trying to maintain tact. I think it's good to know that you like that,
yeah.
because I wouldn't necessarily know that.
Okay.
Being ambitious but also pro-social, yeah, that makes sense to me. But that's another area where I'm like, how ambitious? How important is that?
Yeah,
What if
yeah,
someone is more like, I'm ambitious about having a family, building a strong social network. I'm less of a like AI safety,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know, my life is my work, my passion kind of thing.
And in fact, the last person I dated was I don't want to say about their overall levels of ambition, but my impression is that their orientation towards their life was more like, yeah, I want to have a comfortable life,
Yeah,
and like I, you know, they like weren't an AI safety person, like they kind of didn't buy the whole AI safety thing, and I think this was like not really an issue. This was definitely not an issue for me, and I don't think they found it an issue either.
yeah. So that might be worth revisiting that section if you are in the mood to update this at all.
Hmm.
I would consider either maybe merging that section with somewhere else
Yeah,
or just making it a little more open feeling,
yeah, yeah,
um, and less like basically I'm looking for traits that I have or that people I know have. Because I do think you're more open than that and could be balanced quite well with something else.
yeah. That is a good point. Okay, well, I've used up the hour you kindly offered for me,
It's all right.
so we'll have to leave out. But if people are listening to this and they're like, "Man, this person seems so dedicated to her clients. I want some of that." How if people want to engage your services, how should they go about doing that?
Oh, great question. They can email me, which is my first name, Daliya, Daliya .k@gmail.com. They, I assume, could also reach out to you if they can't keep track of that email and you could connect us. Those are the main ways right now. I had a podcast myself at one point called Not Your Therapist, if they
Hmm.
want to catch up on some dating advice that I give to other people, because I mostly coached people on air. Um, so that I do like, I want to encourage you to talk about the compatibility part a little bit as well. I'm sorry we didn't get to it. But I think it's interesting, and there are a lot of good points about you that I have more questions about, so maybe we can revisit that as well at some point. But
Okay.
overall, I want to say I think the State Me Doc does a great job of displaying important traits of yours, and I feel like I learned from it, and I feel like, as your coach, I just want to say that I do get that warmth and silliness and light from you, as well as like taking these things very seriously. So I think you will make a wonderful partner, and I know I may be biased, but that's how I feel, and I wouldn't say it if I didn't mean it.
All right. Okay. Well, thanks for chatting.
My pleasure.
Um, and yeah, I guess I will talk with you later.
Yes.
Uh, bye.
Bye.